Let's talk about the vice presidential debate tonight. Here's an amazing opportunity. Senator Kamala Harris, who, is being labeled as a leftist, as a socialist, a radical lefty. She's not, and neither is Joe Biden. They're all part of one big party, just like Republicans, right? That's why Wall Street doesn't much care. All they care about is uncertainty. So Joe Biden's likely to win this election. The latest polls show that Vice President Biden is up significantly, up 16 points right now. And some troubling news for President Trump at this hour on senior citizens. His numbers among seniors collapsing very quickly. The numbers show that President Trump, with a group that supported him very strongly during the last election, that is senior citizens, they have all now basically left and gone over, not all of them, but a large portion of them, particularly in Florida and other states, have left and are now going over to Joe Biden. Huge. That's huge news. In states like Arizona and Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, this could be a landslide victory for Joe Biden. And yet, will anything change? Do you feel like anything other than getting perhaps a steroid-fueled whack job out of the White House will change anything for you? So tonight would be a perfect opportunity for Kamala Harris during the vice presidential debate to get up there and talk about a story like this. Story like this, which is billionaire wealth surging to $10.2 trillion during the coronavirus. Yes, get up there and say, it's interesting. Vice President Pence, you love to talk about how the economy is roaring back. And before the coronavirus hit, this economy was the best economy we'd seen in 50 years. And she could say, Mr. Vice President, there's a big part of the story you're not telling. Is that the wealthiest Americans did great, but millions of Americans are unemployed, and wages are way lower than where they should be. People struggling to put food on the table, evictions unfolding at a rate we've never seen before. You want to get up there at press conferences and tell the American people how great everything is. Could she point out these numbers? She could say, Mr. Vice President, a new study out this morning shows that between April 7th and July 31st of this year, the report found billionaires across every industry saw their wealth increase by double digits. In the industrial, technology, healthcare sectors, record growth of between 36 and 44%. And Jeff Bezos added $68 billion to his net worth in the past few months, all under the pandemic. Will she say something like that tonight? Will she pay lip service to the type of lefty socialist attacks that they've been calling her out on over the past few months? She's a lefty. She's a socialist. She's a radical. None of that's true. And if you watched the debate the other night, and you watched the town hall the other night with Vice President Biden, he rather pick on Bernie Sanders and tell everyone how he crushed him during the primary. And meanwhile, Bernie Sanders is out campaigning for him. So Bernie Sanders is out campaigning for him while he's on stage basically telling everyone how I crushed Bernie. And you want Bernie to try to get those progressives to come and vote for you? Is this a smart strategy? The sad thing is, that I fear what's going to happen is there's going to be like a landslide victory for Biden. Biden's going to win in a landslide. And the numbers are starting to bear that out in these latest polls. And nothing will change because the Democratic establishment will feel emboldened. Look, we cleaned out the Republicans. We didn't have to really talk about the progressive agenda at all. It was just run against the crazy man. That's what I fear. I fear that real policies are going to be swept under the carpet. Healthcare for all, Medicare for all, parts of a Green New Deal that could actually incentivize us to build clean, green, and renewable energies in this country instead of our reliance on fossil fuels. Stop this fracking, which is destroying people's farms and homes and communities. Just look at upstate Pennsylvania. You don't need to go much further than that. My home state. To see former Trump supporters who have come out, first of all, they should be blaming Obama and they should be blaming Trump. But former Trump supporters that say, I don't know who to trust anymore. My yard, I can't even drink the drinking water. This is coffee, by the way, but like water coming out looking like this out of their tap because it's filled with methane and other chemicals in it that they can't even drink. And then they get hush money from these fracking companies to not talk about it. Here's $100,000. We'll put a little methane thing in your backyard and it'll spin the gas out here. You won't be able to drink your drinking water, but here's $100,000. You're not allowed to talk about it. Gag order. So yeah, we might get the crazy guy out of the White House, right? But at what cost? More of the same? I saw someone here yesterday. I don't know which one of you said it, but I love my audience because you guys are smart and you get it. You're not bought and sold by the mainstream media. You understand. And maybe for some of you who this is new thinking to, maybe it's starting to settle in a little bit. But there's a groundswell movement among progressives in this country. And even among young Republicans, 67% of young Republicans want climate change to be the number one issue that they're worried about. 67% of Republican youngsters. I'm talking 20-year-olds. Because it's their future. It's not Mitch McConnell's future. Nevertheless, I saw one of you mention to me yesterday, you sent a message to me. I don't know if it was live or if it was after the show. Yeah, Annie Black, you're right. Fracking has been going on for years. Like I said, people should blame Obama. Obama's the one that brought us deep oil water drilling. The Deepwater Horizon catastrophe happened on Obama's watch. You know why? Because, you had Sarah Palin saying, drill, baby, drill. And Sarah Palin was out there saying, come on, we've vetted these projects. We've looked at them every way till Tuesday. They're safe. They're safe. And Democrats were being bought and sold by big oil, just like Republicans. These big donors that were going to support these Democratic candidates, BP and others, funneling millions of dollars to their campaigns. Let's support deep water drilling, whether or not we know it's safe. And then we saw what happened with the BP oil disaster. Alaska still has not recovered from the Exxon Valdez. So this happened under Obama's watch. You can blame Obama. Look, my point is, it's all one party. So my fear is that Biden wins in a landslide, which the numbers are starting to show that's the case. And then we don't see any meaningful change because Democrats will feel like we don't need to implement any of these really progressive ideas. Clean energy, really doing something on the environment. Not just paying lip service to it when you need to. Really doing something on public college for everyone. Really doing something on healthcare. Instead of co-opting a Republican crappy Obama plan or Mitt Romney plan and calling it Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Really doing something. So that's my fear. And then what's going to happen in 4 years? By the way, if President Trump loses, I'm going to throw this out there. If President Trump loses, he could run again. I know you don't want to hear that if you hate Trump. They're term limited to 2 terms. If he loses he could run again in 4 years. He wouldn't be the first president to do that, by the way. Takes a term off, and then he's tweeting the whole time. Oh, you thought things were going to change. Oh, Democrats were going to do this, huh? Really, really? Well, more of the same, more of the same. Drain the swamp, drain the swamp. People are like, you know what? Maybe he's right. And then he runs again. That's a real possibility.